affect you mentally, physically, positively, hopefully. The Muthoot Group Principal Team Partners of the Chennai Super Kings presents Beyond the Boundary, and my name is Rajiv. A while back, if you actually wanted to become really viral on the net, right? That time if a man got a six-pack or a lady transformed herself into size 0, they went completely viral. However, there is one phenomenon, there is an influencer, there is an activist who says love everybody because everybody can go viral. And on that note, with that thought, good or bad, right or wrong, just a viral trend or a change of mindset. We discuss this and a lot more. Now, she is an entrepreneur, she is an actor, she is a model and a lot more. I must have forgotten a few things, but what I've actually got her here for is that she is a body positive activist. And on that note, please present Miss Mallika. Hi Mallika, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hi.
Hi, and today we have a lot to discuss with you, right from transformation, transitions and body positivity. I'll tell you what, there are a few things, suddenly this word comes in, mind positivity, body positivity, transformation. But let's understand, everyone's got a different meaning here, right?
Absolutely.
So you're not the first one to bring this word of body positivity, right? But you definitely, with the way you've taken it forward, has an impact. Definitely, it's influenced the life of few women and thereby influenced the life of few men. So Mallika, tell me what, according to you, and what is this campaign of love everybody? What is body positivity?
So, again, in my context,
Yeah.
body positivity is basically, the way I look at it, is basically inclusive, being inclusive of every kind of person and every kind of choice that said person may want to take with their bodies, as long as it's not negatively impacting, you personally. I think that there's been a lot of controversy as per, oh, you should lose weight because you're not going to be healthy, or oh, you should put on weight because you're too skinny. I don't think anybody who is not a certified doctor of dietary proportions should even have a say in such things. And I think that generally the public has so much to say about anyone who goes to plastic surgery, anybody who decides to be, size 16 or size 22, anybody who wants to maybe stay cool in their dusky nature, in the skin that they have, or wants to go brighten up themselves a little bit more. It's absolutely a personal choice. And I don't think that another person should come and hate anybody, because that's the word of the day, right? What do you say on social media? Oh, she's giving me hate, or he's giving me haters and all that. I don't think I've ever had a hater mentality when it comes to somebody, myself.
Yeah.
And so I think that was something that I really wanted to put out and say, just love everybody.
It's a nice foundation that you set up. But I believe that this is something that has a lot of loopholes. So we'll talk about this.
Sure.
I want some clarity on this. When you say somebody wants to be a 16 or a 22, fairer or duskier, whatever that is, don't you think it's not a personal choice? It is because you're trying to appeal and show the people around you, get acknowledgement in terms of society and people around you. That's the honest truth. If that is not the case, we would not be bothered about our posts on social media. We would not be bothered about the way we look in front of the camera. So what we're trying to do actually is please people, but we're just trying to console ourselves and wrap ourselves saying that we're doing it for ourselves.
I don't think that's true at all.
Okay.
Do you get ready in the morning to please other people? You especially, looking at how you are, the way you present yourself, the way you talk, the kind of, energy that you give out. I really highly doubt that you look at yourself in the mirror every morning and say, hey, you know what, Rajiv, I'm gonna please the world today. I think you're looking at yourself in the mirror, somebody like you, which is what I would want everybody to feel.
Okay.
And yes, society is a big part of it. Society has brought all these rules and conditions, especially in a place like India. And I'm Canadian, right?
Yeah.
By naturalization, not by birth. I'm Punjabi and Assamese by birth. But if I get ready in the morning, if I want to package myself well in the morning, it's for me.
Okay.
So I don't think, I just feel like the minute you say, oh, plus size or body positivity, how can you do that? You should be comfortable. again, why are you dictating what should be comfortable with me? Let me dictate that and let me be okay with it. If I feel cool in this particular photo to see what it would look like, Photoshop, let it be.
Talk about that. You know what? When we see someone so positive as you are, and I must say something, this word influencer is very validated, Mallika, because
Yes.
I know people who have been influenced by the way you speak and the mindset and the approach you've given them. All right. But when you have such an attitude now, which is great and shining, when you spread the light, you definitely have been in a dark spot before. You've been pushed to a corner, and that's why you rebound so strong.
Yeah.
So when we look at your Instagram page, which I must say is very positive, it's very informative. It doesn't reveal the Mallika that was, it reveals the Mallika that it is, right? I want to show the world that to become this Mallika with this positivity, you have to go through that transition. So what was that like? What was Mallika in her younger days?
I was molested, and then after that, I think, well, at least this is what my psychologist says, but that after that, I started to bloat. I started to eat as a mechanism, sort of to keep away. I thought that men won't be attracted to a larger person, or at least maybe I would be protected or whatever it was. And of course, that has to do a lot with what society around, because in those days, it was all about the zero size and this and that and everything. And fortunately or unfortunately, I say this both ways, and I say it with a smile, because despite going up to 125 kgs, at that time I went to Canada from Dubai, and I was in boarding school and then university. It's not like the attention ever stopped. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So as much as I would like to say that it was a very bad incident that came into my life and took me and pushed me into this corner and made me want to like jump out and fight against everything, the actuality is at every single point I was just very confused. Like I started to understand, oh, it really doesn't matter, what weight you are or what size you are. If a negative incident's going to happen, it's going to happen anyways. If a positive incident's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it's all in your mind. And so I remember at about 19, when I entered university, I decided that I would never ever get molested again. Like I decided in my head that is never going to happen. And as that started to happen, the ragging and the teasing and everything kind of started reducing. And even though I didn't really understand it, like I was the girl who would go do cartwheels and have guys in my class. And I remember this because my best friend Lavanya and my other best friend Sabda Husni from high school, we did a dance and I could do cartwheels, but I was really large. And everybody in the audience, like half of them were clapping and going crazy, especially the girls. They were like, oh my God, look at her do this. And then a lot of the boys who would try to talk to me, and I was from Dubai, so I was very scared to talk to people. I mean, men especially, because over there you're used to being, in a separate classes and all of that. So I was very shocked when boys would come and talk. Like I'd just be like, oh, okay, like, what do I do now? And because of that, they started to make fun of me, because obviously I was not being open. I wasn't coming and saying, hey, what's up? And da-da-da. I was like, stay away from me, vampire. So the audience started to make fun of my body, and they were like, oh, what is she trying to do? Like show off parking lots, And then, like I said, in grade 12, I was called a brown cow. It was a lot of racism. It was not necessarily just about my body. It was also about my color. And as much as I know in Chennai, I'm considered oh, lucky because I'm fair. But in Canada, you're still brown.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you're brown. That's what they call you. She's a brown girl, right?
There are a few things that I would like to reiterate and try to get some clarity on. Number one, you spoke a lot about the body part of it, and you touched alone on the mind part of it. Now, during these days when you were growing up and you were cartwheeling and people were commenting whether it's the skin or the body size or the body shape or whatever that might be, if you ignored the mind part of it, it's a big thing that we're skipping. So at that point of time, at that age, it's very easy to shape yourself into a different person. Depression is so easy to access at that point of time. Talk to me about the mental side of things and how society actually was ruining it further, or were they helping you around?
I mean, so that's what I was, if you heard what I said earlier, I said mentally, I was always a la-la person.
Yeah.
I was this girl who did not hear or did not, for some reason, what people said just didn't really impact my parents. What they said impacted me. And sometimes, yes, my sister, she would sometimes, she knew how to hurt me and she would do it, and that would impact me. But anytime I heard anybody say anything negative, I almost would go blank. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's I don't know whether it is a mental health mechanism or some kind of way to deal with things. But I would just rebel. So if you said that, oh, okay, if my mom said no, well, my dad actually, if he would be like, yeah, don't wear this skirt because you look like you have a pregnant belly right now. You know, you need to. Sometimes, of course, the thing happens. You know, like the comments. And I would just look at him and be like, no, I'm going to wear exactly this dress tonight. And I don't care what you have to say. And that was just me. It was not something that I just don't know why. I would never...
But you have to look at the mirror and tell yourself, you know, maybe what they're saying is right. Yeah, I'm Lala kind of a person. I want to cut away the negative.
No, let me be frank. I did all the diets because, you know, it was a thing. It was a trend. So whatever my mom would say, okay, you know, why don't we do this?
So you were actually trying to change yourself?
In the sense, only till I was 14, like, there was all these different things that were happening, right? So generally your mom will come to you and say, okay, let's push this into your meal. Let's make the rice without the water, you know, the starch or whatever, I don't even know. But from a very young age, I was put into boarding school. And in boarding school, you don't have a choice of what you're going to eat and what you don't have to eat. So I was eating everything that everybody else was eating. So my size had nothing to do with what I was intaking in.
Yeah.
Because
it's the metabolism of a person.
I guess, or maybe it was just, I don't know. But at the same time, I was a rower, I was a swimmer, I was a lifeguard. I got my bronze star. So I mean, you know, I could climb a tree.
You saved a lot of lives for sure.
I mean, I had done it because I thought $15 an hour is a good pay. So that was the reason I did it. And I was like, what, 15 or 16? And then after that, it was more about, so if I still could do yoga. I did all of it but it was never I never saw weight loss.
After boarding school, you never tried to change yourself?
I never went and worked out at all. Like everybody knows, I hate working out. How do you feel that only exercise has got to do with health?
It's an essential part of it, there's no doubt about it. If you are focused on food and...
In boarding school, I was eating exactly like everybody else. I was working out the exact amount of time like everybody else. But my body was not different. Or the PROs or whatever were like, or the directors or whoever, I didn't even know whether they're real directors, but those people who talked to me said, oh, you know, why don't you lose another 5 kgs? Just 5 more kgs and you'll be perfect. And I came here thinking, you know, buxom, like women are something.
So now this Lala girl was ready to listen to people.
Yeah, because I came with a purpose. I came with a goal. Like I finally had something I wanted to do. Like the director is kind of saying and this and that, and everybody's saying that, you know, why don't you're so beautiful, you're so perfect, look at your skin, look at your features, you know, don't go cut your hair, you know, don't go into the sun. And so it was like, oh, okay, these are the things I need to do to get in. Okay, fine, let me try to do these things to get in. And I would try a little bit.
Acting as a medium, then I think probably they were looking at what they want, right?
Someone has decided that for screen, you need to look this way.
For the character, not for the screen, for the character.
That's a sweet way of putting it. But a character is defined by the actor. Shah Khan, okay, or any of the actors, and let me reiterate that, actors. They don't fall into the characters. You don't go to that movie to watch that character. You go to that movie to watch that person. Okay, and I don't care who says what, but that's how it's been growing. It's especially in the male-dominated industry of you know, Bollywood, Collywood, whatever.
Look at the best performances. Let's not take everybody, but look at the best performances. People have added weight to suit the character. They have lost weight to fit that character. Generally, don't you think they...
Which movie have they added and lost? How many movies? Among their entire...
Demand, I believe
how many? What is the percentage of movies that you have to lose or put on weight for a particular character?
That's because they feel that they're on the right body structure at that point of time.
Who decides this?
The character decides.
The character decides it? Who decides the character?
The director or the story writer.
Okay, so the story writer. The story writer is who?
It's normalcy. This is the way...
Normalcy. I'm not about normalcy. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to break. The fact that normalcy is something that has been conceptualized by some, in my opinion, by a couple of black coats sitting down in an advertising office somewhere.
Mallika believes that though people might term normalcy or define what society is or should be like, you are in a path of your own, rather, as you said, in a world of your own.
Yeah, you create the society. Each one of us creates society, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Each one of our minds creates societal thoughts. If today, somehow, I have managed to change 58,000 people thinking, which I don't think I have. I met you. It might just be 100. It might just even be one.
58,000 is the number of followers that she's strictly got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much really. It's
no, but that's great. I mean, if you impact even 5.8 lives, or 58
if I impact
lives,
one life,
yeah, that's great.
It's enough.
Great.
It was enough for me.
When we talk about body positivity, which means you're fine the way you are, how much do you think is an impact of external elements?
I told you body positivity is about inclusivity.
So what do you
Of
think
being
is,
okay in any specific body type or space that you're in. And I love, everybody knows, I love experimenting, whether it's come to makeup, or tattoos. Yeah, I like to go into a Goa tattoo festival and think you're gonna get only this big of a piece, and then have the artist, I mean, Gauri Shankar, I have to say, Gauri Shankar Mistry, he's my artist, and I want to give a shout out because he's amazing. And he's literally,
We've seen the work in pictures. We've seen the work in pictures. Right, okay, so what we get from you, Mallika, is a very interesting journey which has arrived till here. One photo shoot with Mr. Venkatram changed people's perception of you and the way photo shoots can be done. And also the journey from now, arriving till now and being, viral is great. But from here on, the impact that you want to have on lives is something we discuss, and a lot more. Stay locked in. The Muthoot Group principal team partners of the Chennai Super Kings presents Beyond the Boundary. We are with a body positivity activist, Miss Mallika.
Superstar. Yaare, Nama Dhoni sir.
They much listen, he's a magician behind the wicket. Or is it a decision they bright in the yellow? He's a gigabon's regular fellows. Where the helicopter goes, the whole stadium goes. MSD, MS Dhoni, MS Dhoni, MSD, MS Dhoni, MS Dhoni. Pure vanda puru, uchagam vanda kalamu. CSK India baru, masu.
ஜட்டு நீ இப்போ இரு ஃபேஃப் யூ பேடப்
பை பை
பேட்டிங் ஆர்டரில் வேணா சான்ஸ் எடுக்கலாம் ஆனால் உங்கள் கோல்ட் லோனில் எடுக்காதீங்க.
முத்தூட் ஃபைனான்ஸை மட்டுமே நம்புங்க. கிராமுக்கு அதிகபட்ச விலை, குறைந்த வட்டி விகிதம், செயலாக்க கட்டணம் கிடையாது. இன்னைக்கே முத்தூட் ஃபைனான்ஸ்ல கோல்ட் லோன் வாங்குங்க. மேலும்
வாழ்க்கையில் முன்னேறுங்க.
9946901212 கால் பண்ணுங்க.
The Muthoot Group principal team partners of the Chennai Super Kings presents Beyond the Boundary. My name is Rajiv and with me is a body positivity activist and a role model and a very strong influencer for women and men. I say that why? Because really men like to be influenced by what women are being influenced by. It is that world we like to exchange. Now, if you look at this world of equality, is it a world of equality? Is it still a male-dominated world or is it a female-dominated world?
I think equality of opportunity is the term. I mean, equality, nobody, everyone is equal and no one is equal. You're not born equal, right? But you are born equal. You all live and then one day you're going to die. So that much is sure, right? That much everybody shares.
Yeah. But in between that life and death, there are opportunities, preferences, luxuries.
So equality of opportunity. And then it's a sole person's decision as to what they're going to choose. Are they going to choose to follow maybe the path that society has decided for them? Are they going to choose a path that they are deciding for them? It's scary.
Yeah.
You're all alone. Everybody doesn't want to be with you. Sometimes even your boyfriend.
But something which has not been discussed by you on camera is this aspect. Since you speak so strongly about positivity and being comfortable the way you are and expressing the way you are, this one movement that happened called Me Too, which was a while back, and it's only media that's curtailed it, it's only media that brought it to light, and people's voices are still around. The emotion and the impact of it can never go, whether the media talks about it or not. Now that's a problem I have with being viral. Viral itself means that it's going up and it's going to come back down. So when you speak about Me Too, do you think that was a rubbish moment? Because you don't seem to be in sync with that.
No. I don't think it was a rubbish movement.
Yeah.
I think
What is your opinion on that?
Incredibly important because every movement that comes up breeds for change. It breeds for knowledge. It breeds for awareness.
Correct.
And it also can breed a little bit of negativity, a little bit of people using it for their own means and all of that. Personally speaking, I think that when I hear about the Me Too movement, I understand that because women, again, I keep saying we're in a patriarchal society at the moment. If it was matriarchal, it would be maybe a host of other issues that we're not discussing at the moment, and a host of other positive things. But because of the patriarchy and because of the amount of importance given to this concept of sex, given to the concept of glamour, given to the concept of this need-based thing that people have, there were a lot of women, I think, and men who thought that this was what you had to do. Or if it did happen, if I was approached in a negative way by somebody, then I have to keep quiet about it, because if I say something, then everybody's going to look at me, and it's a very common thing. I mean, no girl that I know of wants to talk about being raped. Or wants to talk about.
But this gave a platform to bring justice and bring out the pain for so many men and women on that platform.
Yes.
You were not a part of that.
I don't think it's, apart from justice, I think it was about just telling another woman that I've been through it, so it's okay for you to talk about it. And if you talk about it, then you're gonna probably help someone else to talk about it.
But after the talk, what, Mallika? After the talk, what?
I mean, honestly, when something happens,
change doesn't happen when you speak. Change happens when you speak, when you listen. No, what change? When you speak, when you listen, you discuss, you debate, and you decide. That's when. So, what was the decision that came out? And more than the Me Too movement in general, my question comes back to you. When you say today that this is something that happened to you, which changed your life. Right? You became a lot more stronger, you became aware, you changed as a person, mentally, physically, all of that. Why isn't that coming to light, and why weren't you voicing out during the Me Too movement? That's my question. What is the Me Too movement? We know.
Yeah, I mean,
but my point is Mallika during the Me Too movement. That's my discussion.
Well, I mean, I was really in the Me Too movement. I don't even know what I was doing, to be very frank. I wasn't even so active.
It's never too late.
I was
if you believe in the cause still, it's never late.
I mean,
molestation still happens, injustice still happens.
Yeah, but my molestation didn't happen in regards to a director or anybody in the film.
So it's not related to the film industry, it's related to...
Yes, but it did happen in regards to a
It happened
servant.
is the question. It happened is the question.
Yeah, so there was a servant that was with us, and he kind of molested me, that's all I can tell you. And I, like I said, went into a binge of eating and just kind of like trying to change my whole self. And then again, it happened in university. I mean, not in university, in high school, after my graduation. So in that itself, I felt like I had other people, but nobody wanted to talk about it. And so I did go and I did discuss it with a couple of the officials, in the school. And they were like, there's no evidence. And so that became the reality now.
So when someone in the Me Too movement say, 20 years back when I was a kid, this happened, you think that is invalid?
I don't think it's invalid, but I don't think that much can actually, all you can do is spread awareness about it so that in the future, people who get into those situations don't do the things or speak out. I did try to speak out. It's not like I didn't try to speak out. I did. I was at grade 12, at 16, I was told by an adult that, that we need evidence, we need this. And it is true that you need evidence. You can't just go out and, post label on somebody, right? Like you can't just go and say, oh, hey, this is what happened. And that time there was no social media. It wasn't even existent. So we're talking about a time and a space where these things there weren't even venues that you could speak. Of course, today, I think because of the Me Too movement and those brave women who decided to stand up for themselves and talk about what happened, and then try to get justice for what happened, that is the reason why today we can even sit here and talk about it so comfortably, rather than say, and unfortunately, I think almost every other woman out there has had an experience, and every other man out there has had a nasty experience that they don't even understand it. And a lot of the time, I think when you're growing up, especially when you're growing up and it happens, right? Especially as a teenager, when these things happen, you're trying to figure out the world in itself. Like you're going from a child to a demi-adult, right? And so you're just like, oh, okay. But if I do talk about it, maybe I won't be allowed to go back there anymore.
The
maybe
fear factor is always there. The sense of insecurity is there.
Yes, I mean,
now society provides you that blanket of security
absolutely.
And the warmth to speak out.
And because of that, today, a lot of today when somebody asks me, and it's so funny because I still get like, I'm going to be a PRO. Please answer these list of questions, and it's like, size, this, whatever, and then compromise, yes versus no. And I immediately say, do you want me to post this up? Would you like me to post this up? Because you have sent me this message and there is a record, right? Which is something that people didn't do earlier, and now you're able to keep a record of everything that anybody does. So it's much easier now to call it out, and now men even know, or anybody even women who are I don't know what you would call them, perpetrators, I guess, even they are now aware that if they try to do something like this, it's going to come out in the open.
In the eyes of the public, and everyone knows clearly what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, what's happening, and what shouldn't be happening.
Absolutely.
But if I was to summarize this in one sentence, Me Too movement, successful or not, I think every lady would say it made a great sound, it impacted, but it left a lot to be desired in terms of law, love and result.
Yes.
I think that's something which, as influencers, you with the following, you with the vision, I think that's something that you ought to, or maybe would like to.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, finally, on a lighter note, it's been quite heavy, but on a lighter note, Venkatram's photo shoot gave people a lot to see, admire, so aesthetic and so wonderful. Quickly, can you tell me your experience and the idea? How did that come up? Was it like, hours of planning this, or was it like a second saying, let's go with it?
There was very, he's...
No plan.
He's a professional, and he is one of the biggest, I think, support systems in Chennai for me personally, and because we've done another shoot. We did the Love Everybody calendar in 2017. That is what brought on the following. It wasn't like the following happened and then I started doing this. It was because, Times of India went trending on Twitter, and there was this girl who said, why do I need to be a comedy piece or a glamour model if I'm going to be an actress? Like, why can't I be other things? I'm not saying that other people are not supposed to be there, that characters should not have a certain, whatever. But why am I not included? Why do you automatically suggest or decide that I'm not included in this? And I was, very afraid in a lot of ways to go bold, because when you think of bold, and I was always a bold, glamorous person, but when you think of bold and glamorous in Chennai, or especially in the South, you think of a very sexed up thing, and I love Jessica Rabbit, very frankly. I love the idea of a glamour doll, but at the same time, I just was like, okay, is that going to be something that's going to be tagged onto me? Because I'm I'm a person with so many variations. I can't stay in one. Today I'm a hippie, tomorrow I'm a gypsy, day after I'm Jessica Rabbit, the day after I'm like, I don't know, anything, Daffy Duck, maybe, I don't know. So the point being that I like to be all these things, especially you said entrepreneur. I've done so many things. I've been a restaurant owner, I've been a tattoo shop owner, I've been a makeup studio person, person who owns a team that goes and does bridal makeup or whatever. So I've been an actor. I didn't ever think I was going to be a model. In fact, I used to joke about it, but it happened, and he really pushed me there, and he said, well, if we don't do it, then who's going to do it, right? Like if you, so why don't we, you've got this thing, you've got this piece of art on you. Nobody has this piece of art on you.
That was so impressive, so aesthetically shot, and when they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, I say rubbish, it spoke 1,00,000 words. It really did. That was wonderful, very inspiring, and I'm sure it gave a different vision and an impression for the people, for you, and also for Mr. Venkatram, because he's done the best of best work. This stands right up there.
He literally, his voice has made other people now get included in this.
Exactly.
Because if I feel like if I had just done it on my own, I don't think it would have created such an impact. I think his voice creates an impact, and it's amazing that
lens of his has a zillion eyes. It really does.
And there are a lot of people who actually even apparently unfollowed him after that shoot. Like I saw some comments. But it doesn't matter. You create an impact.
The following doesn't come in numbers. The following comes in emotions. Last but not the least, Mallika, Love Everybody. It's a lovely moment. It's a lovely idea. which of course is something that people will have different opinions on, but it's a vision that you carry with you. I want to ask you, how far is this vision? From here, where? Is it sticking to Instagram as a platform? Is it sticking to ground events? In taking up issues like Me Too, job opportunities, education, right for all? Are we touching all of that? Where are we going?
So, I mean, as of now, it started in 2016 with one small video that I posted, and then now it's come to this. And I think, I mean, apart from being everybody else's journey, I think it's my journey, sort of. So it's going to be continuing for life in whatever way and form I can put it.
Make sure everyone is comfortable in the skin that they are, and as you said, it's
in the choices that they make.
Yeah.
I mean, be sure of the choices that you're making. When you say a skin clinic, for example, you're going to go do a surgery or you're going to do something. Yeah. My only point is do the right research. Check out the doctor that you're going to go with, figure out what you're doing, is it something you really want, understand the repercussions, and then go do it.
So what's the one industry you'd like to change? Is it the cosmetic industry? Is it
the advertising agent, the advertising and films. That's what I'm aiming at.
Yeah, I know where you're looking at and where you're targeting. Of course, bullseye is right there, and the person to shoot is right there. Thank you very much, Mallika. It's been an interesting discussion. We can go in depth, but only your actions will speak much louder than the words, and we look forward to all that. Thank you very much. And as you say, love everybody, and we hope that love spreads. And at the end of it, no campaign can be stronger than the campaign of love, truth, and honesty. Thank you. Thank you very much. On that note, it's been a wrap. I hope you guys have taken a lot from this discussion. And on that note, it's time for us to wrap things up. The Muthoot Group Principal Team Partners of the Chennai Super Kings presents. Yes, we crossed all boundaries. This is Beyond the Boundary.